Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my weekly makeup basket. I have a drawer here. I have this like large acrylic organizer on my makeup desk, and this is the larger drawer down at the bottom, and then I have a smaller drawer where I keep mainly my lip products or some of the smaller items. I'm still kind of playing around with this. It's the pretty new acrylic organizer, so for the most part I've just been tossing things that I have been using or grabbing for. Let me stop rambling. I'm gonna start off with eye products and then like blushes, bronzers, highlighters, and then we will do lips last. So let me start off with, actually let me go ahead and start off with the foundation that I was really enjoying these past couple of weeks. This is the Pure 4-in-1 Love Your Selfie Longwear Foundation and Concealer. And I've really been loving this foundation. I do tend to wear, I don't want to say more mattifying foundations because I do have like dry patches on my skin, but I tend to look for a more natural finish when it comes to my foundation and a little bit more like dewier products, because I find that if I just get oily I can set it down with some powder, and if I am going to use powder, if I use powder on top of like a mattifying foundation or something like that, that is just going to make it look more powdery and more dry. But I've really been loving this on like my oily combo skin. It does have a nice pump up here with a little cap to keep it nice and clean. And another thing I really like, which I found was kind of funky, is that it has a doe foot applicator, because you can technically use this as a concealer. I don't really use concealer. I wanted to try this because I'd heard such good things about it, and it was 40% off on the Ulta, not only website but also in stores, off of like all Pure products. So I went ahead and purchased it, or all Pure foundations, like their powder foundation and the liquid foundation. So now let's move on to eyeshadows. So quickly want to talk about this product. I don't want to like get too much into it because it is a limited edition palette. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Self-Made palette, and I pretty much pull this palette out whenever I want to use a minty shade. So there's this gorgeous minty shade here that has a little bit of like a green shimmer in it, and it's absolutely beautiful. I find that a lot of mints or a lot of pastels, they just don't, I don't know, they don't really perform all that well, and this one does. I absolutely love it. So I know this palette is a little bit on the older side, but I'm definitely still going to keep it in my collection. It's not a palette I can repurchase anymore. I wish they would re-release this palette. This was one of the first, I believe this is the first Anastasia Beverly Hills palette I ever purchased. Next, I want to talk about a newer palette to my collection. Let me know if you guys want to see me do a get ready with me using this palette. I figured I would do get ready with me using some newer palettes in my collection that I've recently pulled into like weekly makeup baskets, just to share some thoughts and opinions on the palette and just to kind of chit chat with you guys. So this is the Desert Dust palette, and this is what the palette looks like. At first when I purchased this palette, I believe it was on sale, and I had heard a lot about Huda Beauty palettes, and it just looked right up my alley in terms of like these warmer shades excuse me, in terms of these warmer shades up here, and it just seems like it had a lot of really cool like glittery eyeshadows. This one right here in Cosmo is just a straight like glitter, so you need a glitter glue in order for that to work really well. But honestly, a lot of these just didn't perform. It's like they felt very sheer. Like this one here in Retrograde, it's just a very sheer kind of eyeshadow. This one here in Angelic was one of my favorite ones. It's like this gorgeous kind of peachy shadow. But a lot of these, like Twilight again, is another like sheer kind of shadow where you need some type of like pigmented base, and it just didn't really perform the way I expected it to, I guess. I guess what I'm saying is this is not a quick and easy palette. It is definitely a fun palette. If you want something that's going to give you a challenge, then this is an eyeshadow palette I would say to pick up, because it definitely did make me think outside of the box. But if you're a person who's not looking for that and you enjoy these shades, I would say pass on this palette. I feel like there's a lot of eyeshadow palettes out there that have the same like tones that are in this palette that's just so much easier to work with. All right. So then a little eyeshadow palette that I pulled out is this Petite Pro palette from Viseart. These are expensive. I got this Petite Pro when it was on sale because I wanted to try out the Viseart formula. And it just has 4 shades, very similar shades to the Huda Beauty. And you have 4 mattes and 4 shimmers. And let me just say, the formula on these is absolutely amazing. The pigmentation is definitely there on the mattes. It's beautiful. It's blendable. I know that Viseart is great for having a great formula. The shimmers are they're just so impressive. This one honestly reminds me of Pink Champagne from the Anastasia. Oh my god, they're just so beautiful. The shimmers in here are just so beautiful. I don't think I ended up having to pull any other shades. I had this one as my transition color, this one to kind of deepen up, or this one to deepen up my V. I could use this as like my crease color if I really wanted to. And I used this palette 2 or 3 times, and I really enjoyed it both times I used it. So I think this would be a really good travel palette, because you could either do like an all matte look with this eyeshadow palette, or you could just easily put on one of those shimmer shadows. And oh my god, I didn't need any Fix Plus or anything to foil these eyeshadows, but the Viseart palettes, they're great. So I actually ended up buying a matte Viseart palette after using this one because I loved the formula of it so freaking much. All right, let's move on to the last eyeshadow palette I want to share with you guys. Again, this is a newer palette to my collection. This is the OFRA. It is so holographic and just reflective. The Glitch 2000 palette. Now, it has a little like protective cover here, and these are all, how do I explain this? These are all like the OFRA highlighter type of formula, but they're all like shimmer blushes. So I knew this was going to be a palette that I was going to have to pull in like an all matte eyeshadow palette, like the one from KVD Vegan Beauty. And at first when I got this, like some of the shades in here were just absolutely beautiful, pigmented, but some of these lighter shades, like this peachy one here, it just doesn't perform all that well. And I thought these were going to be a little bit more foiled, like especially that peachy one, because the OFRA highlighters are extremely foiled highlighters. And the formula on its own kind of disappointed me. And then when I did try to actually foil these eyeshadows, they don't really foil all that well. They get they're a little on the chalky side is what I'm trying to say. So but you have to put some work into that. So that's actually what I'm wearing on my eyes today. I'm wearing the peachier shadow that I swatched there on kind of the center of my eye, and then I'm wearing this like vanilla looking one on kind of the inner corner of my eye there. And man, I had to put in some work with these shadows. Again, I knew I was gonna have to use some matte shadows to go with these eyeshadows. And I haven't used these in a while, and man, I'd forgotten how good these were. So these are the Dose of Colors, a little like quintuplet, quint something. There's 5 eyeshadows in here. This is the palette Blushing Berries, and oh my gosh, these are so pigmented. One thing I will say with these though is that yeah, they are pigmented, but they blend away really nicely. I would say there's a little bit of a learning curve with using this formulation of matte eyeshadows, because I feel like when I first went in, I didn't want to go in with too much because I felt like they were going to be too pigmented and I wasn't going to be able to blend them out too easily. But man, do you have to kind of stamp this on just a little bit and then kind of lightly blend out the edges, as opposed to kind of slowly building it up. It took way too long when I was slowly building it up, unless you're going for that more like diffused look. Anyways, long story short, I love these. I have the mauves one, there is the baked browns, I have like a taupe one, there's the blushing berries, and there's one more and I cannot remember the name of it, but I absolutely recommend all 4 of these, or all 5 of them. There's 5 palettes in total. It's like a gradient of colors that all kind of complement one another. I have a few single eyeshadows I just quickly want to talk about here. So I pulled out one of my favorite Super Shock shadows. Every so often I just pull out like a single eyeshadow that I want to use. This is in the shade Crimper. I'm not sure if it's still part of their like permanent line, because ColourPop is always changing, you know, which one is still available as part of their permanent collection. So there's a swatch of Crimper right there. I pulled out a single shadow from Bobbi Brown's. I love this single shadow. I actually used it with the shade Crimper here. I used it on its own as kind of like a one and done shadow. This is the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow in the color 5 Camel. It is just a gorgeous matte eyeshadow. Ugh, it's just such a beautiful, absolutely beautiful color. Very unique, I would say. If you guys ever see that shadow on sale, you have a local CCO, I would definitely check it out, because they do have Bobbi Brown products there. All right, I think I talked about these in the last weekly makeup basket, but I've just really been enjoying these. I picked these up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I have the shade Beach Bay here. These are the Tarte Chrome Pots. And I think in the last weekly makeup basket, I said that these are very similar to the Maybelline, or the L'Oreal, like the infallible, like potted eyeshadows, but no, there's just no comparison. I went and pulled out my L'Oreal shadows, and these are just so metallic. Those are beautiful. I love my L'Oreal infallible, like pressed pigment type of potted eyeshadow thingies. Guys, I can't think of names today. And like I said, those are great, but these are just highly metallic. These are just foiled eyeshadows, and it's just so smooth. And they apply this way with a brush, they apply this way with a finger. I think working with it with a finger works best. Like, do I need to say anything else? I pulled this in after the Huda Beauty glitters were starting to annoy me, so I loved using the Huda Beauty, the mattes in that eyeshadow palette, but I just had to pull this in, and there's like a lot of like plummy reddy colors in that palette, so this one it worked out really well. It's just I can't. I'm gonna do it one more time. I just can't. It's just gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous eyeshadow. All right, those are all of the eyeshadows. I have one eyeliner I want to talk about. It's actually the eyeliner that I'm wearing on my like bottom lash line today. This is from Lorac. These are the front of the line pro eye pencils, and this is in the shade Plum. When I first picked this up, I thought it was going to be a darker, like purpley plum color, but it's actually kind of a bright purple, so to speak. At least it really brightens up in my waterline. It is a very gorgeous formula, very creamy. I compare this to like the Marc Jacobs eye pencils, except that it's not as expensive. However, Lorac is still a little bit more on the expensive side, so I picked this up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, and it does have a really nice sharpener at the bottom. So this is something that I would call like a gel cream eyeliner. So absolutely love this. I have a brown one, a black one, this plum one, and a green one. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the plum one because it just kind of surprised me how bright and purple it is. And again, it is what I'm wearing in my waterlines. All right, so cheek products. I have 2 cream blushes. I've been using a lot of cream products recently. These both are from Fenty Beauty. They're Cheeks Out blushes, cream blushes, and I have the shade Petal Popping, 02 Petal Popping. I dug my nail into there. This is a really nice kind of, you know, just a standard like pinky blush color there. And then this one, I don't know, I kind of regret picking this up. I didn't think that it was going to have this formula. So this one here is in Fuego Flush. And unfortunately, it does have a little bit of like a gold shimmer in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. The other blush doesn't have any type of shimmer in it. This one does have like an orange shimmer in it. And it kind of shows. It's a little bit on the reflective side on your cheeks. And the reason that I think it kind of shows is because these are a very sheer formula. So when you go to blend out Fuego Flush, the color kind of blends away and you can clearly see that gold shimmer because your gold shimmer is not going to blend away. I don't know if that makes sense. You're going to see more gold shimmer than you are going to see the color of this blush. And I thought the color was beautiful. I just wish it didn't have that gold shimmer in it because it kind of makes it look patchy. But the other one in Petal Poppin' is just a gorgeous kind of peachy pink color. And I may pick up 1 or 2 more of these colors, but for right now, I'm eyeing the MAC blushes. I want to try that formula out first. I like these, but I feel like they can blend away a little too easily. So I like these on kind of like a no makeup look when I'm not really wearing foundation or when I'm not really wearing like an intense eyeshadow look, just a little bit of mascara and that's it. But I will say that they don't last on the skin that long if you have oily skin, and that was kind of expected. So let's talk about another bronzer. This is the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze in the shade 102 Tantric. I got this as part of a set. A lot of Marc Jacobs items are currently on sale on the Sephora website, and that's the reason why I picked up this bronzer. I've used this several times and I absolutely love it. It definitely is a little bit more on the red tone for me. I would not pay full price for this if it had not been discounted in that set that I picked up. It was like this with like a small deluxe size primer. I probably wouldn't have picked up this bronzer, but man, I've been loving these Marc Jacobs products. I would definitely say it's a good buy if it's still on sale on the Sephora section. Let's see. I think that's the only, well, I guess I'll talk about this. It's not really a bronzer, but it's definitely more on like the bronzy tone. This is the Cover FX Monochromatic Blush Duo. There is a matte side and a shimmery side, and it's in the shade Warm Honey. I picked these up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I also picked up a bronzer from Cover FX, which I have yet to try. And oh man, this is absolutely stunning. So you have a matte blush there and a little bit of like a shimmery blush topper. I have just worn the matte blush on its own, and I have used the topper on it as well. And I really love these blushes. I don't know what it is about this blush formula, especially with that shimmer topper on it. Playing around with like shimmery formulas is kind of new to me because I do have oily skin, and this is something that I can say works really well with oily skin. And the blush lasts a long time on oily skin, even if you decide to add that blush topper on it. So I would definitely recommend these blushes. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but I'm sure they will be on sale again. Like I said, I picked these up during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. All right, let's talk about this face palette before I talk about the highlighters that I use this week. This is one of the Hourglass ambient lighting palettes that come out for the holidays. I used to not recommend these palettes because the pans are so little in comparison to like a full-size Hourglass product. I would say a full-size Hourglass product maybe takes up about 2/3 of this palette. I just didn't think it was necessarily worth it. And you know, when you're looking at these palettes, you're like, how the heck am I going to get my brush in there? But let me tell you, my bronzer brush fits perfectly fine into this bronzer shade here. My blush brushes fit perfectly well into these blushes. This one right here is a highlighter, which honestly, if I want kind of like a more shimmery setting powder, like a glowing setting powder, I just run my brush across these two. And I've been using a smaller setting powder, a little bit bigger than this, on these two shades right here. So this one right here was the Ambient Edit Volume 3 palette. So it does have some permanent shades in here. So you have diffuse light and dim light. So diffuse light is what I use because I set my face with powder like all over, and then I kind of like bake, so to speak, in my T-zone. I use diffuse light to kind of wipe away any excess powder under my eyes and then underneath like my bronzer. And then I go in with dim light and I lightly sweep that over my bronzer area, kind of avoiding like my highlight area. And then I use it to kind of brush away the bake that I have on my T-zone. And it just dim light just makes my makeup look amazing. Both of these powders do, but I am a much bigger fan of dim light than I am of diffuse light. I'm honestly only using diffuse light because it's in this palette. And just overall, I love every product in this palette. So I have Luminous Bronze Light, which is a gorgeous, like more warmy toned bronzer. There is a swatch of it right there. I feel like it just, you can sheer it out, you can build it up. So that was about like 3 swatches built up on top of each other. Oh, the 2 blushes are kind of limited edition shades, Surreal Halo and Pure Effect. So you have a more like peachy one and a more mauvey one there. And the highlighter in here, I would say, is a little bit more on the, I don't know, natural side. But I just wanted to mention this palette because they're probably going to be releasing the new holiday Hourglass palette pretty soon. They start to release some of the holiday items in the next couple of months. And it's definitely a product that I would say is absolutely worth it, especially if you want to play around with some of the Hourglass formulas. Highlighters, the last face products, then we can move on to lip products. So first item that I want to talk about is my Lancome Dual Finish Highlighter in the shade 05 Sparkling Peach. I love this highlighter. It is so reflective, so beautiful. There is a swatch of it right there, right underneath that highly reflective tarte eyeshadow. And as you can see, this is definitely a reflective highlighter. So I think it's definitely worth it. It's a little bit more of a unique shade, so it has a little bit like of a peachy undertone to it. So if you are somebody who doesn't like golden highlighters, you may not like this, and especially if you are not like someone who likes peachy undertones to it. But I think this works really well on someone who has like light medium, or maybe even darker than that. I just really think this highlighter is absolutely gorgeous. It may look a little bit deep in the pan, but it definitely doesn't come off that way on the skin. I love it. The highlighter I am wearing today is a Becca highlighter. This is in the shade Rose Quartz, so that's what I'm wearing today, and I'm wearing it in my inner corner. I wanted to pull out like a pinky peachy highlighter, and I ended up going with Rose Quartz instead of putting on the next one, which I actually have worn a couple of times. This was a limited edition Becca highlighter, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is because they may bring it back. And if they bring it back, as Becca typically does, I will probably buy a backup of this highlighter. This is in the shade Dreamsicle. They brought this out maybe 2 years ago now in the summertime. Let me swatch Sparkling Pesh next to it so we can compare the undertone. So they're similar, but not quite dupes. So the one on top is the Becca Creamsicle, or Dreamsicle I should say, and the one on the bottom is a Lancome. So when you put them together, you can definitely see that the one on top has a little bit more of that orangey undertone. And I feel like it's just such a flattering undertone. Like it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Come on, Becca. Come on. I know you're gonna bring it back. We all know you're gonna bring it back. It's just a matter of when. Just come on. Like, you don't even have to make it fancy or anything like that. Like, this was a gorgeous, case. You just bring it back. Just come on. All right. Last highlighter I want to talk about is from Laura Geller. This is the Baked Highlighter Duo in the shade French Vanilla and Golden Rose. So this highlighter is split down the middle. I held on to this because I was going to get rid of this, or I quote unquote did get rid of this in my latest highlighter declutter. I held on to it because I only have one other natural highlight that I kept in my collection, and that is the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I felt like I needed one more natural highlight in my collection, but after using this recently, I just decided to go ahead and pass on it because it's a little too natural, to the point where you could honestly almost use this as a setting powder, but it's just not my thing. If I'm gonna use kind of like a luminous setting powder, I prefer this Peach Perfect one. I prefer the Hourglass highlighter for the subtlety of it over the Laura Geller one. Like, the Laura Geller one it honestly is just not, it's too subtle. It's just too subtle for me, to the point where I don't even see a point in wearing that highlighter anymore. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and declutter that from my collection. It's a great product, don't get me wrong. It's just not for me. All right, let's go ahead and take all these swatches off so that I can swatch some more stuff on my hands. All right, so let's get into the lippies. So let's start with what I'm wearing on my lipperonis today. I have the NARS Audacious Lipstick in the shade Vivian. I think I also had a NARS Audacious lipstick in my weekly makeup basket, and I will probably have another one in the next weekly makeup basket. These are my most used lipsticks for a reason. I love the formula. I love the wear power. I love it. I love the colors. It's just, they're so dang expensive, but they're expensive for a reason. So these are one swipe lipsticks, and I don't know if I said it, this is in the shade Vivian, so I'm just gonna do one swipe. Absolutely gorgeous. One swipe lipsticks. They're creamy, but not too emollient where they're just gonna move around. So this is a darker lip shade. I have been wearing this for hours. I even ate a pizza, and I lightly retouched just on like the outskirts of my lips, just on the very, very outskirts of my lips. But honestly, it's probably because I ate a pizza. Honestly, when I wear these, I don't really have to retouch these all day. So these are just absolutely gorgeous colors, gorgeous formula, gorgeous wear power, ultra comfortable. It's just a really great lipstick formula. All right. That's it. So moving on to the next one. This is the Tarte lipstick in the shade Cabana Boy. I don't remember the name of these lipsticks. They have great lipstick bullets, but I would say pass on these lipsticks. Oh man, I wore a lot of purples. Pass on these lipsticks if you ever see them, because honestly, you only probably get a little bit more than what you see in this bullet. That's it for like a $20-something lipstick, and it's just not worth it. I didn't use this for a while because I was just so angry at the fact that I had spent so much money on a lipstick that just didn't didn't I didn't have that much product in there. It was like a deluxe size sample worth of lip product in there. However, I will say the formula of this is quite nice. It is a gorgeous color. Cabana Boy is really this is one of my favorite lipstick colors ever. There is a very similar color in the NARS lineup, and the formula is very similar to the NARS formula. So it's creamy, but not too emollient where it's gonna move around. It stays on the lips for a really long time. It's not drying. It's like a one swipe lipstick, but it's just too expensive. So for that, I would say pass on that lipstick, even if you see it on sale. So this is the Velvet Lip Glide in the shade Californication. And I love the Velvet Lip Glides. They are a very comfortable formula, but I will definitely say that if you don't wear a lip liner with this, the staying power of these is not great. However, they're really easy to reapply. The formula is just so silky smooth that I don't really have a problem reapplying these. So they're gonna dry down a little bit more satin. This one is still kind of glossy because it's wet. So there's a swatch of it right there. And I really like the formula of it. And I'm going to continue to use them. I have a few like deluxe size and full sizes in my collection, like this one right here. So this is a full size one that I have in my collection. And this is in the shade Unlaced. I will say that the shade of this one does make me look like it's like a very pale shade. And if I don't wear it with a darker lip liner, it just makes me look dead. It's like this gorgeous, like peachy nude color. And I do tend to have to wear like a darker lip liner underneath in order for me not to look dead. So I do like the formula of it, but that shade I would be careful with. And again, that's in the shade Unlaced. All right, let's move on to a purpley lip gloss. This is Allow Me. This is one of the Marc Jacobs lip glosses. I really like the Marc Jacobs lip glosses. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but they do tend to have these. Oh my God, that's just one swipe. That's one swipe of the Marc Jacobs lip gloss. They do tend to have a lot of these minis, and I do have a lot of the minis. I think I have like one full size of the Marc Jacobs lip gloss. This shade right here in Allow Me is this gorgeous purpley color, but it has this kind of gold. You're probably not gonna be able to see it, but it has this very fine gold shimmer. Like it looks good. Like it's not like the shimmer is not going to settle into your fine lines, and it's not going to make the lip gloss look funky. It's not super textured. It's not glitter. It's like a very fine gold shimmer to the point where it makes it look even more reflective. So I really like these Marc Jacobs lip glosses. And another one I have here, I don't even have the name of it, but it's like one of the more popular lip glosses from the Marc Jacobs line, and it's just a very nice nude. You're probably not going to be able to see it on my against my skin tone because it's basically the same color as my skin tone. Let's see, let's move on to, oh, here is a purpley lip liner that I use with some of these purpley lipsticks. Actually, it kind of looks a little bit more pink now that I'm swatching it in comparison to some of these lipsticks. This is the Lorac Alter Ego, Alter Ego lip liner. I love these lip liners. I feel like these lip liners are so underrated. Not a lot of people talk about them. They're extremely creamy, just like the Lorac eyeliners. And this is in the shade Jet Setter. Let's get the rest of these lip liners out of the way. So I have a MAC Pro Longwear lip pencil in the shade In Control. MAC lip pencils are just notorious because they're so, like, let me show you how creamy this is. I'm barely gonna put it on my skin and it's just like extremely creamy. So if you were thinking about picking up a MAC lip pencil, I would say try the Pro Longwear line because the other lip pencils are just a little on the dry side. So this is a limited edition version of the lip pencil. I like the color. of this. This is one of like a cult classic color in the shade Whirl. Very similar to that other lip liner in NSYNC, but I feel like NSYNC has a little bit more of a red, undertone, like a rosy undertone, and Whirl is obviously more on the brownie side. One of my all-time favorite lipsticks. One, because it's Selena. Two, because of the color, because I am obsessed with brownie colors like this. Honestly, this looks just like the Bobbi Brown eyeshadow. Like, it's just, so beautiful. I bought a backup of this lipstick because that color is just gorgeous. This is the MAC Amplified Cream formula in the shade La Reina, and again, it's part of the MAC Selena line. You can actually still get this collection. I know they have a few shades left of the collection on the Ulta website, but I purchased the entire collection through the Macy's website, and they still have like the highlighter, they still have every color of the lipsticks, both of the lip liners, all of the lip glosses. So if you were interested in this collection, check out the Macy's website. All right, couple more lip products to talk about, and then we're done. You can stop listening to me ramble about makeup. So I have the Bare Minerals Marvelous Moxie Lip Gloss in the shade Trailblazer. I love this color. It is a gorgeous peachy that has a little bit more pigment than the my arm hairs are going crazy, guys. That's a terrible swatch. I'm gonna put it on the other side. You know what, I'm putting it on the other side. Let's go crazy. Let's load up the other side and, you know, make my arm hairs feel all funny on this side. So there's a swatch of it right there. It's this gorgeous peachy lipstick with this beautiful, very fine gold shimmer in there, and it has kind of like a minty scent to it. It doesn't tingle in the sense that a Buxom lip gloss, speaking of, does, but it kind of plumps your lip just a little bit, but it doesn't tingle or hurt or anything like that. Speaking of Buxom, I have the Buxom lip gloss in the shade White Russian. This actually looks very similar to the shade from Unlaced from NARS. It's this gorgeous kind of pinky, nudie lip gloss color. Very beautiful, milky, pinky color. White Russian is just a cult classic color. The thing with the Buxom lip glosses is they are quote unquote plumping lip glosses. They don't hurt, they tingle just a little bit, but I don't think they're painful. And I have tried some lip plumping products that just, they hurt so bad. Like the Too Faced ones, like the lip injections, those are a little too strong for me. All right. The very last lip product I have to share with you today, these are the Bare Minerals. I don't know the name of these. I think these are just the regular like Gen Nude liquid lipsticks. These are super popular when they came out because they sent out all of the colors basically to all of the influencers. And this is in the shade Wink, and this is their matte formula, because I do think they have like a couple of different formulas in their like, you know, Gen Nude line, and this is their matte formula, and I really love it. It smells like buttercream icing. It's very comfortable, but they aren't long wearing. But like again with the NARS Velvet Lip Glides, this is a formula that's so comfortable that I wouldn't necessarily mind reapplying it. All right, that is it. Those are all of the products that I have been loving, maybe not loving, but I have definitely been wearing over the past couple of weeks. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy my weekly makeup basket series. Let me know down in the comment section if there's any thoughts and opinions that you have on any of the products that I shared, any recommendations, anything I should try out, anything I should pick up, because I am definitely itching to purchase some new makeup. I actually purchased quite a bit of things on the Ulta website a couple days ago, and so I'll be coming at you with an Ulta haul very, very soon. I have been on like a foundation kick. I've really been kind of looking into wearing foundations. I typically don't wear foundations all that much, but man, did I purchase quite a few foundations. So give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, if you found it entertaining, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.